Computers affect every aspect of modern business life. These boxes of chips make information more readily available. But on the inside is a tale of the world contributing specialist inputs. These memory chips were made in Japan. The floppy disk which stores the data was manufactured in Thailand. All the components were assembled in Taiwan. The software which drives it is predominantly developed in America. Why does each country play such a different role? How is it determined just who is best suited to do what? World trade routes buzz every day with the movement of billions of dollars worth of goods. But why trade when most countries could produce most things for themselves? Each country can supply some goods or services better or cheaper than others. To best use their resources, they tend to specialise in those areas. They exploit a comparative advantage determined by a range of factors. Comparative advantage may arise from an abundance of easily accessible natural resources. They're easier to extract and cheaper to sell. The advantage could come from climate. This industry would be unlikely to be efficient in a high rainfall area. For manufactured goods, advantage can hinge on the wage costs and skills of the workforce. But all these factors are subject to change. Professor Ross Garnaut from the Australian National University.
Oh yes, any study of economic history tells you, first of all, that comparative advantage is a dynamic concept. It is natural, and it follows from the concept of comparative advantage that it will change when economic development changes the abundance of resources or the efficiency of the economy in various activities.
Natural resources can be exhausted. Low wages can rise, increasing as the workforce becomes more highly skilled. In the 1950s, Japan had a comparative advantage based on labour. Wage costs were reasonable. The workforce was well educated. That sparked an influx of labour-intensive industry to Japan. At that time, the Japanese subsidiary of American computer giant IBM played a very basic role. The computers it sold were imported from America, where they were designed and built. Japan made only limited modifications, tailoring systems to the local character-based style of writing. Today, Japan is one of the world's high-tech capitals. It's at the cutting edge of new technologies, helping the country find new wealth and opportunities. That's caused changes in IBM Japan's role. It now exports more than it brings in. It's taken over from America the role of designing and manufacturing portable computers. As the Japanese economy developed, its comparative advantage changed.
The capital stock rose in the form of human capital, in the capital that people were carrying in their brains. And comparative advantage at this later stage of economic development shifted into high-tech activities, activities that depended on education and training. In some ways, the forms of capital that are most characteristic of a high-income economy. And so you've got comparative advantage shifting towards computer design.
Japan developed extensive infrastructure in electronics. The highly skilled workforce made important breakthroughs in miniaturization. As it developed an industry base to support the new technology, Japan was able to achieve vital economies of scale. It could make these products for a lower cost than other countries. When the portable computer was born, IBM Japan began assisting its American parent with design. But Japan's technology and industry base gave it an edge. Hajime Watabe is Director of Personal Systems Products.
We had experience, again, in Japan infrastructure, NEC, the Canons and Ricos, and building a very small camera as an example, and fitting in a lot of logic inside a very small area. So we want to take advantage of that.
Within a few years, IBM America handed over its design and manufacture role to Japan. It's typical of the shift which has occurred throughout the computer industry. Japan dominates miniaturization, exploiting the comparative advantage based on skills and industry infrastructure. The American industry too has followed its comparative advantage. It still develops larger computer systems and dominates the production of software which drives both big and small machines.
They have long history in building a system software in the United States rather than Japan. That's why you see in the large systems, Fujitsu and Hitachi picked up IBM systems. NEC is working with Microsoft to pick up their own systems.
But once technology becomes standardized, other factors can determine where products are manufactured. Countries with low wages can offer more cost-effective production while still achieving the benefits of economies of scale. That's seen a range of countries take over manufacture of components, with more changes to come.
You evaluate just about every country in our region, and maybe some other region like India, where they do have skills, and determine whether we should remain in Japan or go back to the United States or move on to China, India.
The continual shift in where these components are produced highlights the complexities of comparative advantage. Technology, labour costs and expertise all play a part in where production will be located. And because the world is constantly evolving, comparative advantage, or who does what best, is likewise continually changing.